Imagine our friend Steve, who lives in California. He has dyadic connections, that is, contacts, friends, and family all over the country. Each pair that he forms with other people represents a unique personal relationship, as well as, transitively, a relationship between two cities. When we think of someone or email someone, we're also thinking of that place, or forming a digital connection with that place. Combined, Steve's relationships form his social capital that he has built over a lifetime. When we geolocate social capital, something new emerges. We see the places where Steve has social capital. These are the cities where he could go to and stay with someone. The cities where, if struck with a natural disaster or economic downturn, he might be called to help a friend. And the cities where he can ask for personal recommendations. The more people Steve knows in each place, the more important it is to him. For instance, we can see that Steve knows many people in western Pennsylvania where he grew up. Steve's social capital isn't complete just yet. The contacts themselves are interconnected with one another. Connections may be parents and siblings, old roommates from college, or members of the same professional society. Within the network, cliques, triads, and groups of people form. This structure represents his social network, and these connections make his relationships more complex. When Steve has many groups of contacts in a certain place, it becomes more and more attractive and important to him. It's in those places where he is more likely to be tuned in. Perhaps he checks flight prices, he looks for conferences there, or he stays informed about the news and weather in these locations. Relationships, social capital, and the social network are rarely put into geographic space. But we wouldn't be able to see some of the places that Steve cares about, or maybe even wants to avoid, without knowing his social structure. Any prevailing economic model would assume, instead, that Steve was most invested in the areas closest to him. We will see that where Steve travels is marked with yellow lines, and his telecommunication patterns are marked with orange lines. These frequently align with the location of his social networks. We need interpersonal relationships to understand this spatial behavior. If he's attending a wedding, he probably checked the location online, perhaps booked flights or hotels there. His digital breadcrumbs don't scatter randomly in geography. They're attracted towards the people he knows and the places where they are. This is just the first-degree ties of Steve, just one person. All of his contacts also travel and telecommunicate. They have friends and friends of friends other than Steve that introduce new geographies that are transitively accessible to Steve. Imagine performing this task for everyone in their 1,000 ties, as some people seem to have on Facebook. What we get isn't necessarily a web of random connections, but the system of global flows that we see in yearly city-to-city migration, data on how many people fly from city to city each quarter, traffic, commuting, subway and train data, as well as IP address to IP address communication through chat and email, and mobile calls and SMS located by GPS and cell tower. But global connectivity can be broken down to each single interpersonal relationship that we form with one another.